That also brings me to a subject or of a person that who graduated from the Howard University where I went, but he went there probably 10 years after I was there.
Yes.
And who just recently passed, Chadwick Boseman.
Right.
And he, being from Anderson,
Yes.
he described being in Anderson, and some people took harshly, especially people in the more white community here, saying that he remembers being in the 70s, racism, and also the Klan being marching downtown. And here you have this, again, we're talking about this Confederate monument, and yet about 20, 30 years later, you moved to town.
Yes, sir, in
the 90s, and you see almost identical picture.
Identical, same thing.
Just tell us about that.
Right. In the 90s, when this happened, a very athletic body and all of this. I did running and jogging. And one morning I was taking my stride and ran down through Main Street. And as I got to the First National Bank on my left, as I crossed the street, I had always made that circle around the courthouse. There I heard this loudspeaker. When I got around the corner, I seen the Klansmen having their meeting.
In front of the courthouse?
In front of the courthouse.
Oh, wait.
On the back side of the courthouse, I would say. I guess that's called the back side where the stores are. They were having their meeting there, set up with their meeting.
Wait, hold up. Do you mean the courthouse, the place of justice?
The old courthouse, the place of justice. That was before the new courthouse was built.
Right.
The place of justice. They were there.
Wow.
Having their meeting, not just unorganized, they were organized. They had the speakers and everything right there speaking. I imagine they were speaking to people, but I didn't go around there to see who all was there. But I could see there was other Klansmen in their outfits. And my heart just went into my mouth because I had never seen that happen before in my lifetime. Heard about it, from talk about it, my dad talked about it, but I had never seen the Klans in action, just being there with a meeting. And I made my U-turn where the fountain was on the left side of the courthouse. And that's where I seen the rest of the guys. And I thought they seen me. So I shift gears.
Wow.
And when I got back around the courthouse, I took my escape area, I call it, down beside the bank, went down across the track and come up by the coal yard.
Right.
And I come up through there because I didn't know whether they were going to chase me or not.
Right.
And so I come up through the coal yard. And I don't know whether you remember the coal yard. The coal yard was on right on the left side of the street. And I come up through there, and that's when I was headed back to Moultrie Square. That's where I lived. And I got there, and I was so nervous because I didn't know. I shut the door and locked the door because I didn't know whether they'd follow me or what. But that was my experience of ever seeing Klans having a meeting in a town where I had moved. Not even had no idea that this city would accept anything like that.
Well, it's interesting because I'm thinking of 1990, what I was doing, and I'm thinking the climate of America, because at that time you had, even in entertainment, you had Oprah Winfrey's on at her show. You had Arsenio Hall.
That's exactly.
You had a lot of Quincy Jones that made another juke joint, and
right.
a lot of things that were entertainment and sports. You're thinking of Michael Jordan, all these things, the Bulls, and yet, to have a Klans meeting, you have to get clearance for that.
Yes.
You have to get. I mean, it's not like
They just didn't walk up there.
Yeah, you can't just walk up and put some speakers. You have to get permits and say we're gonna, and not just be on the street, but at the place of justice.
That's right. They had to get permit.
Yeah, or Jackson would say, just us.
Just us.
Yeah.
And the permit had to come from the higher up.
Yeah. So
they wasn't just there.
They weren't just there.
And I wasn't going to wait to see what they were all about.
So because when I heard you say that before, and I'm thinking, wow, people, and I've heard people, when I brought that up about what Mr. Bozeman had said, and they kind of dismissed it by saying, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He was just a young fellow, and yet here's a man you won't really fully honor him. I mean, this guy is. I'm talking to people literally. I've been to Africa and I've been to places around the world. They honor him around the world. And we can't even honor him in this town.
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, except for something small, but even if you say, well, let's replace the statue with him. Oh, there's we can't. Somebody said, take down the sacred cow. Right. It's a sacred cow. I mean, it's like don't kill. And when I say that, because I have friends of mine who are from the Hindu culture, and they know what that means. Yeah. When you say it's like killing you. When you say sacred cow, it's like, because in Hinduism you believe that's killing your ancestors, right. And so that's what it is. This is our sacred cow. This is just us.
That's right. That's right.
So that's
that day. I just. It put something in my heart and my mind that at that time, how much we were hated. That's what I thought about.
Right.
And I say, for the city of Anderson to, just what we just said, to let them have a meeting and knowing what they're about,
right.
What kind of city do we have? That's the things that I thought about.
Yeah.
And so, later on, it just kind of passed over me.
Yeah.
I started at the rec right after that. Right? Matter of fact, I was at the school,
right,
working at the school, but I just couldn't get it together why, at that time, a city mayor had to give them permission to do that, to have a meeting in their city. It had to come from the top.
Yeah.
It had to come from the top.
Yeah.
They just didn't walk up there and say, we're going to have a meeting.
Right.
They had to get permission.
On Juneteenth weekend last year, I was driving around the corner and I see all the Confederates, because they're all a part of the same group. And they were all having a big rally in front of the same place. Mm-hmm. And they somehow got wind of it was Juneteenth, so I guess they decided this is a great time to have it. Yeah. And that doesn't even look like it was that well. They just had their flags and they were waving them. Yeah. And I think it's just in our climate today, when you're thinking of voter suppression, as it's called now, Jim Crow 2.0.
Right.
And it's definitely, it should be a wake-up call but I don't know if I see apathy with some blacks here. And then there's also another thing on the other side where some of the whites are like, let's not talk about it on the other end. And so long as we keep the city the way it is, and no one's, it's quiet.
No one say nothing.
Don't bother us. We won't bother you.
We won't bother you. Exactly. But the thing about Anderson, if we had a togetherness with all the people and not some of the people, if we had a togetherness here, people came together and had meetings on this issue.
Right.
On this issue. That would straighten out everything.
Right.
What I mean, when I say everything, not everything, but I mean everything when it comes to a black man running for mayor, so just say. How many that you would think would frown on that right here in Anderson? We already got him.
Right.
But how many you think that frowned on that? We had that.
Right.
We had the whispering. But see, we're lacking in Anderson is to getting together, talking it out with our young people. See, you got now so much today. See, myself, my old self, other old people, they just said, some of the old people said, well, I'm not going to say nothing. They just let it go. I don't want to get involved, that kind of thing. But our young people today are the young people that is going to straighten out this kind of thing.
At the end of the day, you look at, say, in the Jewish culture, if one person gets shot in their synagogue, it's like 100.
That's right.
But yet, 9 people can get shot in a church, and we're too quick to forgive. We can't just, hold up, we haven't even went to trial yet.
That's right.
We're saying, oh, let's forgive. Oh, wait a minute. You got 9 people dead.
That's right.
I mean,
right.
And this is a perpetual issue.
That's right.
That's still going on.
That's
so my thing is that we have to deal with the issue. Right. It's like even for those who are black that, who kind of let their things slide. One of the things that Eric Dyson. Michael Eric Dyson once said, he said, the worst white supremacist is a black white supremacist.
Right.
I mean, because you're standing, you're going against, you're thinking of, when I look at, what's the girl's name? Stacey Dash.
Yes.
She went work with Fox and all of this, and she kind of, the black community was great and all. When when black people were hiring her, then she kind of left the neighborhood and said, screw the black folks. And then now, when she got fired from Fox, now she's crying back to the black neighborhood. And now the black people say, okay, we'll forgive you. But you got to wait a minute, because you can't be going back and forth.
You can't be jumping back and forth.
Because and that's the whole thing. I think black people will forgive you, and we've forgiven white folks for when they've done wrong.
Exactly.
And sometimes I think we do it too quickly, but we do.
I agree. I agree. We do it
too quickly. You just can't just jump and say.
Here's what we're following. Mind you, we're following what the old clan of blacks.
Right.
They were forgiving people. And we are following that, and rather than negotiating, we say, well, Here's 9 people got killed in the church, but Lord, we just forgive them.
Yeah.
It's like a disease. Mama taught me to forgive people. I shouldn't hold it against him.
Forgive and forget.
Yeah. That's
The
what
2 F's.
And today we have to face the fact that there is something got to be done in the people, not just one side of town black and one side of town white. This has got to be a gathering of negotiating on what we're going to do.
Right.
Are we going to live together or are we going to kill each other?
Well, it's like, yeah, you're right. I mean,
when I say kill each other, I don't mean shooting the guns and that. I mean separating ourselves.
Right. Well, here's the thing. We call it what it is. I mean, that's the thing that you got to do. And I think from a younger black person, I think that I've talked to even who are younger than me, black people, and I think even people who are my parents' age, they would say the same thing. All right, we giving white folks all this time. We're tired of having to explain what is in your face. If you don't get it by now, then you don't get it. It's like it's the old. There's a. I like the way the Washington Post, they have their slogan: "If you don't get it, you don't get it."
You don't get it.
And so that's the idea. They don't. There's a lot that don't get it, but they. And I remember talking to someone here, and it was a white pastor. And he said he wanted to talk about reconciliation. I said, reconciliation means at one time we were together. I mean, but when were we together?
When?
Yeah. So I mean, are you talking about? You're not talking about a reconciliation. That means it's like if I divorce my wife and then we talk about getting together. That means I had a past relationship that was a love affair. We never had a love affair.
We never had it.
And so what you're talking about, are you trying to court us? Now, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to court, not reconcile. Let's call it what it is.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah. So that's
here in Anderson, I have so many white friends. And when I say friends, I believe they're my friends. We're close. We see each other. We talk. And I believe that they are my friends. And I believe they believe that I'm their friend.
Right.
And even when we meet around the round table at this restaurant at Mama Pen's, which has always been my favorite since I've been in Anderson, we gather around the round table. There's a lot of discussion. I sat in with the booth. I've only sat at the round table one time.
Right.
But they recognize me because I believe they're my friends.
Right.
And they always say, well, Broom, what do you think? Or something like that, But we as people, see, we are people that come up in raising us. The Lord want us to be this way, and we shouldn't go against our neighbors and all of that, and we shouldn't mistreat the other man. Don't make no difference what he done to you. Forgive me.
Right.
But there's a time that we should start gathering around the round table,
right,
and getting it together. But that's the only thing that's going to solve the problem.
Right.
How do you feel?
Right.
Bro, how do you feel? Well, this is what I feel like. I think we should, this is what they're scared of. Black and white.
Right.
Is getting it together.
Right.
That's it. Getting it together.
Right.
And Anderson needs that so bad.
Right.
Anderson needs that. right now. We got young people like, young people like Black Panther.
Right.
He made Anderson stand on the pedestal.
Right.
But who recognized it? Who says anything about it?
Yeah, he made Anderson stand on the pedestal,
right.
but Anderson stepped on him.
On him. You got it.
Yeah. And that's see, like I said, when having traveled, being in Africa, in different countries, and I've talked to about 2 months ago, several months ago, because I went to Chadwick's funeral, and my company was hired to do some stuff for him. And one of the things that when I was talking to a friend of mine from Nigeria, he's like, "Wow, you don't know how he has made Africa look, even though it wasn't done by necessarily a Black company. It was Marvel, Disney, but the fact that it was all Black cast." And I was talking to some people today who they're doing the recasting again, and I know two people who are going after, and they were talking about Chadwick. It was like, they know I'm in this town, and they asked me the question, so. Because if you were in D.C., if you were in Chicago, if you were in Harlem, you were in other places, you would have some sort of freaking monument or something that honors him, gives him the keys of or his parents or something. I said, keys to the city. I said, Blossom, they haven't given him the keys to a car. Keys to the city. He only have a key to a Hyundai or a Honda. I mean, the city? I said, and they were surprised. I said, I'm just keeping it real, just like you're doing. I mean, people it's Black, and you probably, just like when you said, here's a bunch of Black men beating the crap out of, you're talking about in the second inning, you're playing baseball, 5-0, you're beating the crap out of them. And you ain't got to the ninth inning.
That's right.
And they're shooting. Ready to, they can't be, they're sore losers. And then just like you have this young man, Chadwick Boseman, at that time, the #1 film in the world.
That's right.
And the only reason why, the Avengers beat it is because that movie brought all the attention. But at that time, it was the #1 in the world.
That's right, exactly.
And so it beat people. It was like, wow, Black people need to be recognized. But the thing about it, the question I ask, do we recognize our greatness?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that. See, we are people that love to have heroes in our Black lives. Jackie Robinson was #1. Cabanela was #2. Joe Louis was #1 in his. But today, Chad Boseman was #1.
Right.
But who in the white circle recognized that? If they did, they'd have a statue of this young man, went to school here, raised here. They know it. I'm talking about the people at the top that has the ability to make it go. They put radio. Radio. I mean, what did he do?
Okay. All right. You brought up the same thing. I'm glad I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to go there.
Well,
I'll say it. I mean, now that you said it, no, I'm glad you went there because you have. Okay. I give my seniors the platform. Okay. But I said I talked to to someone about that, and there was a friend of mine who lives in Greenville who went to Howard as well. She's not from here. But she lives in Greenville. And I said to her, she's written lots of books, and I said to her, we're talking about radio. And she asked the same question, why isn't Chad on it? Mm-hmm. I see radio, who had some sort of mental illness, and I mean, but he's a hero, got a statue there.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is, she said something profound. Radio is not a threat. Radio, he's a pet. Because if you look online, you will see he's like a pet.
That's right.
It's okay when we're the pet. It's okay when in slavery when we're the fiddler. When we're doing things that tap dancing. But when we say, okay, we call you out on your BS. Or like Chad did, and challenge people.
Right.
And mind you, Chad went from here to Howard to the Mecca. We call that's the Mecca of HBCUs. And he was in my department. So when I heard this, Debbie Allen, because Debbie Allen was there before me. And so all of this renaissance of people that he's around, and then going over to England, which to challenge himself there, he starts thinking, he can't be the same person because he's an independent thinker, and that's the thing. Radio is not an independent thinker because of his disability. He's a liability because he has an ability to think.
Well, let me, if you don't mind, let me scoot back to history.
And hope you don't mind. Okay. Go ahead.
Let me scoot back to history for a minute. And the reason I want to scoot back is this, because when you think how people want to keep us in a certain bag, I should say. We shouldn't go this way and we shouldn't go this way. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. But go back to Joe Louis.
Right.
Jack Johnson. Those are our heroes. Of those black people at that time, Negro, colored people at that time, was the heroes, Jack Johnson and Joe Louis. It was not cutting the ice for us, but we did have heroes. Those are the two heroes. It wasn't cutting the ice for us to open up for us, but we did have heroes. Two heroes that was recognized by that side of people, the white clan. They making money for them. Comes on down to the years to pass. In order for us to get a chance to make money, who does this? Jackie Robinson, Campanella. They come along and broke the ice for us. Same way about Bozeman. Bozeman is in that class. He has broke the ice for a lot of young men, young actors that has not made it, but was still scuffling. And that's what I put him in the category of a hero. And that is why I've said that his statue should be somewhere in this town. He's a hero in Anderson. And who should recognize it first?
Us.
That's exactly right.
Us. I think that should be, because if you don't recognize, like we said, you bring it up back home. If you don't recognize your greatness, who cares if they do or don't?
That's what I'm saying.
If you don't, I don't. And that was the thing that I remember. You probably remember this. I was considered almost like, when I first moved here, a little bit, I guess, a little arrogant, because I am. But and that's fine. I mean, it's my pedigree.
Yes.
It's my pedigree. I mean, I grew up in. I tell you, I grew up in D.C.
Yeah.
I mean, where it was all black run.
Yeah.
I was raised in the islands where it was all black run.
Yeah.
So and I've been in Africa where it's all, at that time, it was becoming more black run because it was colonialism and all that stuff. Right. But so when coming, I'm not used to asking for permission.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so when someone asks me, "Oh, you do video work and all this, and going to the airport and all this," and they wanted me to do all this, jumping out of planes and doing all these things, and then they turn around and said, "We'll give you the experience to do it for free," and I said, "Free?" And in my mind, I'm thinking, do you know who I am? I mean, do you know but I don't need free.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing, that we want their approval, and I'm not looking for your approval.
Yeah.
In Africa, and when I was in the islands, and I think this is something that I tell anyone that I've learned from being around those cultures, especially in Nigerian culture, especially Nigerian and Kenyan. One of my friends said to me, in America, Black Americans, as he put it then, use the term equality. You're looking for equality with white people.
Yeah.
That's not in our vocabulary.
That's right.
I said, whoa, what is it?
I know that.
Independence.
That's right.
Independence.
That's right.
Notice, this country was founded on independence. When you use the word equality, you will always use other people as a measuring stick to what is, you will covet what they have.
That's right.
Which you're breaking a commandment. I covet what you have. And but the problem is, the bar will be raised, because as soon as you get to where they are, then they're 4 or 5 steps higher than you. Then you try to get to where that is.
You're always behind.
Yeah, you're always behind. If I just say, I'm just going to be independent.
That's right.
Then it turns it around and say, oh, wait a minute. And I've noticed that many European countries, since they said they've gotten rid of colonialism, and they started doing everything on their own, they said, now these Europeans come, wait, you don't need us? Hello? We're over here. No, we really don't. But you mean you want something from us?
Yeah.
That's what, and I think that's where in African, getting to Chadwick, we have to look at independence and say, we got to raise the resources.
Exactly.
Malcolm X once said during the, I remember he was upset. He was disturbed with King when he said, after the bus boycott, he said, Black people, the Negro people, as he put it, has $40 billion worth of spending power. Yeah. And I recorded this on my radio show years ago. Yeah. And $40 billion, we can put our nickels and coins together. We get off the bus. To boycott the bus. If we had $40 billion we could have bought our own bus system. Exactly. And not get back on their bus. Exactly. I mean, so we're afraid to do that.
Well, I'm so glad you said that. I was going to say. Go back to just what you're speaking of, how rich we were. Yeah. Look at Wall Street in Oklahoma. Look how rich we were. Yeah. Look how rich we were in Anderson. Yeah. But we couldn't move to just one spot. Yeah. all of that side of town.
Yeah.
But we had it together.
Yeah.
But here is the problem. Our problem as Negro people, we will not carry it on. When it stopped, the business is gone.
Right.
We will not carry it on.
Right.
We would have the largest business industry right now in this world if our young people that is business minded would get it together and organize their own banks. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
That is where our problem is. Everything that we got to have, we got to go next across the street.
Yeah.
It don't make sense.
Yeah.
That we are very educated today. We got young men that are so educated. It's just so remarkable. My son, a straight A student at Hannah High School, working right now as an engineer at Atlanta University. He's at the University in Atlanta.
Wow.
There is not only him, there's more, but there is no recognition about our young men. He wasn't put in the paper that he was an excellent student by Hannah High School.
Right. Very good.
Wasn't he put in the paper?
Right.
He was an excellent student.
Right.
Went to Clemson University, full benefit for everything.
Hold up. He went to Clemson.
He went to Clemson.
He played football, right?
No, he didn't play football at all. He was
I'm only saying that. I'm only saying that sarcastically because
I got
black people, especially black men,
football.
you got to play football.
I got you.
To get to Clemson. I mean, which I'm glad to hear.
Yeah.
That because that's not. Yeah.
Our son was a very #1 student.
Awesome.
From high school, I better say kindergarten.
Wow.
Because he was great in kindergarten and first grade and all the way through.
Right.
But just what you just said, you are not recognized in the college unless you're playing football.
Right.
You got to be getting run and getting hit, knocked down, and your name is be on the top.
Right.
That don't make sense.
Well,
it don't make sense.
As a black man going to only until I moved to the South. You know, it hits me. They see I'm tall, and there's I get it all the time. What position did you play?
Yeah.
I said I don't play basketball.
Yeah.
And then what they'll say next character? What a waste.
Yeah.
Like, well, what about my brain?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like we see this is, but I've seen so many black parents. This is the thing. Black parents, they fall in line into the trap. They see it. Their son is kind of a little stocky.
Yeah.
Coaches start looking at them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We're gonna get him ready.
We're gonna get him ready
to ruin his body.
Exactly.
You know, to ruin his body.
I'm glad you said that. That's what's happening right now where I worked at. As soon as a young man come in that little football team, that little league, oh man, look at him, how good he is.
Yeah.
I know he's gonna be good in high school.
Yeah.
I know he's gonna be good in college.
He's strong. He can pick a lot of cotton.
Exactly. And that's where our brain is.
Yeah.
And today, here in Anderson, if I could live to see, number one, that tall, gray statue that seems to be shooting bullets after when you pass it. If they ever tear that down, how glad I will be.
Right.
Here's what gets me. They take up a fountain, a beautiful fountain. We had one of the best, prettiest fountains around the side of the courthouse. They took it and put it in the jump out at the wastewater department.
What?
Rather than moving this thing that is a threat to people, black people, and some white people.
Yeah.
I said because I believe that.
Yeah.
Because I've had friends of mine say the same thing.
Yeah.
It is a threat to us when you go by it. You don't even want to look at it.
It's a threat to anybody. If you're Latino,
that's exactly right.
African American, anybody that Arab.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that when you dismiss some of those symbols.
Yes.
Because that's what it is. The Klan uniform is a symbol.
That's right.
When they put up the burning the cross, that's a symbol.
That's a symbol
of that you better not get out of line.
You better not get out of line. You better not cross that line.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And when they fly the flag, they mean just that. Mm-hmm. Don't come in my yard.
Yeah.
Don't even come near my yard.
Don't come in my neighborhood.
Exactly.
Because you can see it from miles away.
Miles away.
Yeah.
Miles away.
And that's the first thing you see when you come downtown. It's like, this town belongs to who?
Yes.
Who does this town belong to?
Exactly.
And well, we got a black mayor, but this town belongs, to who?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, we got a councilwoman, but this town belongs.
Who does it belong to?
Too.
That's right.
And that's the thing, because Anderson itself, the city of Anderson, is supposed to represent the county, just like Greenville represents the Greenville County, Spartanburg represents Spartanburg County, Pickens represents Pickens County. Right. We represent, and what we see as a symbol in this will be the Citadel of Justice.
Yeah.
Down the courthouse.
You're right about that. But the only way that our Andersonians are going to get together is just what you and I spoke of. We got to get around the round table.
Right.
We got to talk to each other. We got to get it together and ask each other what you feel like, what you think this thing ought to be. Should it keep going the way it's going, or should we just sit here and look at each other and not make no kind of action to solve this problem of segregation? Mm-hmm. Of I'm not liking you and I don't want you to do this, I don't want you with my child. Mm-hmm. Are we just going to look across the table at each other and not get nothing together? Mm. That's the way it seems to be. Don't anyone want to come together? But what my neighbor going to say if I do this? Mm. See, that's not on the black side. Mm. See, that's on the white side. Mm-hmm. Right. What my neighbor going to say if I accept you in my house? What my neighbor going to say if I let you have a meeting at the courthaus? Especially this Black Lives Matter. Exactly. You can have a Klan rally, but exactly. I mean, I had a gentleman ask me, said, "What are you mad about?" I said, "Who said I was mad?" I'm tired, but yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired of it. Yeah, but I'm not mad. Yeah, I'm telling you what I think should be. That's all we're discussing it with. I'm discussing with a friend. Right. I call my friend, right. But he's my friend, and he said, "Well, Broom, what you mad about?" I said, "What? I'm not mad. I'm telling you what should be. You and I are discussing. You're supposed to be my friend. I'm not mad. I'm just telling you this should stop. Yeah, it should stop. And the only way it's going to stop is you and I and other people negotiate together across the table. That's the only way it's going to be. And you got to have leadership in the town in the position to be able to sit in the city council and say his piece and not just use the hammer. Is there anything else to say? Right. Meeting adjourned. Yeah. It just don't make sense. No. It don't make sense. Not putting it down. I don't want nobody to feel like that. Well, it's the thing of
political power, economic power, and educational issues need to be addressed, especially here in Anderson for the Black community, because it's the tale of two cities.
Yeah.
It's the tale of you got, like I said yesterday, you have a brand new high school for one side.
Yeah.
You got the old school for the other side.
Yeah.
You got the middle schools. You shut down one of the schools and bust them, put them all in one big school, and one big middle school, and then you open up several schools at the other place, and then you wonder why these kids over here getting frustrated because they're all crammed in the same.
Crammed together. That's true.
And they're all crammed together. Right. These people over here, we got 600 students as opposed to 1,200 over here.
We got a brand new school that recently been built and opened up in an area where there was one of the best middle schools it was, Lakeside. Mm-hmm. And here is a gigantic school with anything a young man and a young girl want to learn and want to take up. Mm-hmm. And I'm not being critical. I'm just telling the truth. Right. That school parking lot should be packed with students. But I wish I knew what it is that has put a block on that. Because the idea from the young man that's running the school district has a very good mind and come up with that idea of putting that school there. Mm-hmm. I think it was a heck of an idea. Right. It's got everything a young man, a young girl need. But to draft young people into that school, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. That school should be loaded with young people that wants a trade, wants to learn different skills. It should be packed, but it's not. Yeah. It's not. It's not. And it's one of the reasons why. And as we close, you should think about running for mayor. But let me tell you, I thought about it now. I can't say I haven't thought about it. And even today, it's on my mind. Yeah. And as I was coming in this morning, as I was telling my friend, you all yesterday talking about that made me go home and I had a dream that I was already in there. Hey. But it's a place that I would like to experience because I have such of ideas of what Anderson should be and things that should be done. But like my wife said, that is my go-getter. She's my protector. She's my helper. She's my loving wife. And if anyone knows about their mate, it's your wife or your husband. Mm-hmm. And she said, Ulas, you waited too late because your age now, you couldn't take the stress. And when she said that, I thought about it. Mm-hmm. And I believe she's right. Yeah. Rather than being able to put out what I really need to put out being a man, I would probably end up stressed out and sick at my age. Yeah. Because even right now, today, I waking up with that on my mind. I wanted to call him so bad about something I want to talk to him about. Right. Because we don't have any business at all. Every city in the United States has homeless people. Mm-hmm. I wish there was something to be done about it, but they're there because they want to be. They're homeless. Some people want to be homeless. Mm-hmm. I talked to a veteran that left his family to be on the street. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, this was in Danville, Illinois. I asked him, always seen him uptown. And I asked him, I said, what made you leave your family and come to the street? He said, well, let me tell you this. I'm a veteran. And I'm so tired of the United States of America treating myself and veterans like they treat us. I'd rather be under the viaduct.
Wow.
That's what he told me.
Wow.
He said, I do not want to sit in my house and see my wife suffer with me, because he went into these kind of, veteran things.
Yeah.
And he said, I just don't want it. He said, I don't have any help. And I'd rather be out here by myself in the street, homeless, where my wife and my children can get some help. Can you imagine how many are that kind of people that are out there under that viaduct and on the railroad tracks?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Feeling that way?
Yeah.
And what I wanted to tell him about, I just told this morning, came through my dream, that underpass where the store used to be, Bell, I think it is, that is a place, should be a very beautification, sightseeing area. That place should be cleaned up. At where the elevator is. The idea of cleaning that up, concreting that area, and putting the railroad tracks of where the train used to come in, and doing the elevator brand new, getting the building open brand new, putting pictures of history in that building, and having that as a tour site. But nobody want to do that. City Council, I mentioned it before. I mentioned it before when I was working for the rec. Nobody want to do it. I myself feel that I had the best city management. John, I think, was one of the best. And the one that took his place, Linda. I believe those two was one of the best, but they didn't have the backing to do what was supposed to be done. But those are things that here in the city needs to be addressed. Our west side of the town, where we got landlords with raggedy houses, I believe. Now here's what my plan would be. I would have my people to write letters to all the owners of houses. Write letters, give them a certain time to get these properties in shape. Grass cut. If the house needs to be removed, get it down within a certain time. And if they're not, they'll be fine. That's the things that I would do if I was in that position. You got to be on the job. You got to put out the work. You got to send out letters to people think that they can just let things go and let it look like blight. You got a fish restaurant across the street from where we live, Lakeside, that is still lying there, house falling down. The business is just falling down. Weeds all up around it. Now that don't make sense at all. That is a blight to our people that want to come to our town.
That's right.
That's a blight to our people that want to come into Anderson. The first thing that I would say if I came down 28 and I seen all of this, my God, who's taking care of the city?
Right.
That's the first thing I would say. So now this is what we got to get on. talking about with our city council when, like my wife said, Ulas, you're not young enough to do it right now. And, but we still need, she said, what you need to do, just go there and talk and tell them about it, and speak your mind. And we need a lot of more people to do that.
Tell me about it.
Well, Ulas, I want to, first of all, thank you for taking the time out to, this will probably be a 2-3 part series.
Yeah.
But this is great. I wasn't, but it was some good material that probably need to be said.
Well, I hope so. I really appreciate you inviting me and my friend. Always been, always will be.
Yeah.
I just appreciate you recognizing me as a city of Anderson person and the history that I've given you of my life, which there's a lot more. But I appreciate you asking me about what I feel about Anderson.
I appreciate it.
I'm an Anderson person. I believe in Anderson. I believe Anderson can grow by the leadership it has, if we had it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
If we had it.
Right.
We got to put people in position that wants to move, wants to do something.
Right.
We can't just say, oh, it's all right. He's a good person. I'm a good person, but I'm not doing the job.
Right.
Should I be fired? Yes, if I don't do the job.
Right.
But I should be give them some letters and look here. City council said, look, well, you got to do something.
You got 60 days. But anyway.
But I thank you for recognizing me. I'm just I'm not so special, but I love everybody. And I have so many friends that I needed my pins around the table. Coach is one of them.